everything I wish I knew before I had a baby. These were the things that shook me to my core, and I truly wish I knew before I birthed my 2 children. Welcome to a brand new episode of Bathroom Confessionals Get Unready With Me edition. It is bedtime. Let's take off our makeup and let's get into it. Despise pregnancy. Giving birth, cake, really cool experience. Loved it. Can't wait to do it again. Every birth experience is obviously wildly different, but I think there are so many scary stories on the internet. My version of that story was like the actual giving birth part was easy, not hard, and a beautiful experience. I wish I had been a little bit more aware of the physical recovery and how tough it is. I had large babies and I got 2nd and 3rd degree tears for both of my children. I had a lot of stitches down there and it was extremely painful to the point where it almost made it hard for me to bond with my children. Then if you're trying to breastfeed, you're sitting a lot. It's very uncomfortable down there. I got one of those donuts and I sat on it and that kind of helped, kind of didn't. But the care down there, also you're nursing, your nipples are bleeding and there's a lot going on. It's like very physical and very uncomfortable. Also in terms of physical, like while you are breastfeeding, when you first have your baby, you get really bad contractions, like similar to when you are giving birth. Like you literally have full on contractions right after you have your baby. And I wish I knew that they get worse with each baby. So with my 2nd baby, I was in so much pain. I was like, I literally need another fucking epidural up in here. I wish I had known how much you could potentially hate breastfeeding. People make it sound like such a wonderful experience. I hated it. I literally don't think I ever want to do it again if and when I have a 3rd. I had something called DMER, which is dysphoric milk ejection reflex. So every single time I nursed and I breastfed, I got this overwhelming feeling of being extremely sad, extremely anxious, and almost like nostalgic and homesick. Like it is the most bizarre feeling, an outer body experience. And it made me hate nursing so much. It's a hormonal fluctuation. It's like a real thing. Look it up. But I despise nursing because of this. And I wish someone could have better prepared me for what it was going to feel like in my relationship after I had a baby. But one thing I didn't anticipate, like people just make it look so lovey-dovey and perfect and all those things. And it is so beautiful to watch your partner become a parent. But I was not prepared for how jealous and resentful I was going to be of my partner after I had a baby. And that started in pregnancy, meaning I would just be like, look at you over there, just living your life, working out, having a time. Like, it's so unfair. Why is this such a huge thing for me, taking over my body, mind, spirit, everything, and you're just over there like living your life like nothing has changed. You can pretend like it was all roses and butterflies with you and your partner, and maybe it was, but every single friendship that I have ever had, anyone who has become a mother has gone through the phase of hating or resenting their partner at some point in the cycle, because it is so overwhelming and earth-shattering for a woman. And it's just not always like that for men. And they're just out there sometimes living their lives and like holding that cute baby. And I'm like, do you know how much I went through in order for you to just be able to sit on that couch and cuddle with that baby? Like, also, like it is tough on a marriage. You go from being like 2 people, 2 individuals who did what you wanted, when you wanted, all the time. And that part of the relationship in marriage is so beautiful and wonderful. And so is being a parent, but it does take a moment to be like, oh my gosh, it's not just me and you anymore. Like we have a whole other person to consider at all times. And it's like, it's a lot. I was not prepared for how horrific my mental health was going to be after I had my children. First of all, I had horrific postpartum anxiety with my first baby, and I kind of had baby blues with my second, but they felt a little bit more normal / appropriate. But after my first, my postpartum anxiety was so bad, I felt like I was on like hard drugs at all times. Not that I've ever done hard drugs, but I like never slept. I was awake all night looking at my baby, afraid they were going to die, having intrusive thoughts that they were going to die, we were going to die, that all of these horrible things were going to happen. I was going to fall down the stairs with her. I could go on forever. But I just remember being like, these are not normal thoughts. Like this cannot be okay. And I remember talking to like some of my more seasoned mom friends and they're like, oh yeah, I had all of those things too. And I'm like, oh, you think about falling down the stairs with your baby and maybe like accidentally having an axe in your hand at the same time? And they're like, yeah, totally normal. And you're like, never thought I didn't know that was like a universal thought. Okay. Also, nighttime was such a triggering time, especially right after you have a baby. This is not the case for me anymore. My kids are toddlers, but when the sun would go down, I would get so deeply upset and depressed and anxious and just like this sort of doom feeling every single night. Like I literally would need my husband to like hold me like a baby because I felt so scared at night. Can't explain it. It's going to take you some time to find your voice as a mom, but the coolest thing that comes with being a mom is you're kind of okay being like a raging bitch, because you finally kind of figure out like who you are and where your boundaries lie. It's not always going to come out perfectly, but one thing that I do really like that came with being a parent is like you do kind of give a lot less fucks, and you are willing to be like, this is what I want, this is what I think, this is my kid, like you can suck it. I wish I knew about the identity crisis that comes with having a kid. I'm still having that crisis, by the way. I'm like still in it. My youngest is 15 months. After you have a baby, every single cell in your body changes. And there's so much of you that wants to like go back to who you were, and like, you just can't. You can't. You are a new and totally different person. And sometimes I'm just like, who is this? Like, who do I want to be? Where do I want to go? What about all the experiences I already had? Like, I like don't know who I am anymore. I want to spend every single second with my kid, but then I also like need a break and want to have a career, but I want to be a stay-at-home mom and like make all my food from scratch. Like, you seriously are like, I don't know who the F I am anymore. The last thing I really wish I knew before I had a baby, or could have been prepared for, you're going to love your baby so much and it's going to be so beautiful, but it is almost haunting. What do I mean by that? You think about your baby. I think about my baby at all times. No matter what I'm doing, who I'm with, it is almost impossible to be present because my babies are always right here. Where are they? What are they doing? Are they okay? What do they need next? What do I need to get at the store? Like, it's kind of a mental load, but it's also just like you're obsessed with them and you love them so much that my brain just absolutely never rests. It almost like feels like there's never going to be peace in my soul again. Is that too much? Sorry. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Bathroom Confessionals. I just wish I had heard some of these things before I had a baby. But having a baby is such a beautiful thing, and being a mother is the most special experience I've ever had in my entire life, and a love like no other. But it comes with some tough moments. That's an understatement, but it's amazing. See you next time.